Okay, Zolan Roberts here. I wanted to talk a little bit about something that has been on my mind for a while that I don't think I've ever talked about it in video form, though. Is my issue with the music scene, in particular the, I guess you could call it the underground, so-called underground, quote-unquote. Hipster, or whatever hipsters are calling themselves these days. I used to call myself a hipster back in the day when I was leftist, but that was before, that was before it morphed into like the far left, overly politically correct hideousness it is now. I still consider myself pretty liberal, but more like classically liberal, though I have conservative sympathies. But because of those sympathies alone, and the fact that I identify more with being a classical liberal rather than a far leftist at this point, is enough to ostracize me from the current modern far left. And coming as someone who has been involved in the music scene in some capacity or the other for like the last 15 years, and going through a long period, maybe 10 to 12 years or so of that, all through the 2000s really, I was like pretty like stereotypically liberal, I voted for Obama and John Kerry before that. And so I had a long gestation period of doing the typical hipster thing, of following all the trendiest bands of every form of music, from Animal Collective to Battles, you know what I mean? And later, which or the way some people look at it, depending on the way you look at it, was either a blessing or a curse, I started going down the introverted rabbit hole of investigating conspiracy theories. Probably around 2008, 2009. And just never looked back. And really, ever since then, but especially since around 2011, 2012, I started more and more incorporating conspiracy theory and truth movement esoterica into my psalms, which, as I found, is definitely not at all the most popular thing to do. In fact, it's probably maybe the least fashionable and most fringe thing I could do, and that's what pisses me off. My issue is that the far left, or the hipsters, even if they're like kind of centrist, the whole hipster thing is about finding, in many cases, the most underground, most obscure, unfashionable, whatever thing, and making it fashionable, at least to the degree of like moderate underground fashionability. And I should know that's the main MO of hipsters, because I used to be a hardcore leftist hipster. And now I'm a more classically liberal, conservative-leaning hipster. Alt-right to a degree. Which, especially in this day and age, in this climate, is a very unpopular thing to be, as I found. The thing that irks me is that, like I said, hipsters are all about finding the most fringe thing, the most underground thing, and making it fashionable or kind of fashionable. But I've realized over the years a lot of that is just fucking surface. They just want to be into fringe things on a surface level. And by that I mean like the aesthetic, the outer aesthetics of something, say of like chill waves, sound properties, you know, of chill wave is very, it's blissed out, hazed out, sort of indie-ish electronic music, or Witch House was popular around 2012, 2013. That whole aesthetic was around slowed down, kind of hip-hop beats that had like a spooky type vibe about them, and had occult aesthetics connected to it. So, and those things are just, and those forms of music are fine. I have no problem with them, except for the occult elements of Witch House, but that's for another day. But point being is that like it's sort of fetishizing the sort of surface fringeness of something and trying to make it fashionable. You know, and it seems in my logic, it's like if hipsterdom is all about taking the most fringe thing and making it fashionable, then what is more fucking fringe than the whole conspiracy theory, truth movement realm? And I don't mean about doing it ironically, though that is an aspect of it, for if some were to do that. And a few people actually have, and that's another issue, which I'll get here in a second. But if you want to like fetishize and make something that's fringe fashionable, you can't get more fringe than like the conspiracy theory, truth movement realm of the soul. Like, whether you believe in the theories or not, it's a weird, crazy world full of chemtrails and vaccine deniers and reptilians and Anunnaki and Illuminati and this, that, and the other, you know? What is more fringe than that? But very, very few, not completely, but most hipsters stay far the fuck away from that. And you gotta ask yourself, why? Well, it's because that stuff, fringe as it may be, is ideologically fringe. They're fringe philosophical ideas that are in many ways potentially dangerous, because you're dealing with uncovering the veils of society to see, you know, the truth that lies beneath, to see the hideousness of the elites who are in control beneath the veil of illusion. And that's something that's very dangerous. It's not, you know, it's certainly more dangerous than the surface fringeness of, oh, Witch House, oh, slowed down hip-hop beats that are spooky, or Chill House, or, oh man, I just discovered this post-blip-blop polka band. It's the next fringe thing to fetishize. You know what I mean? Which I don't have a problem with that. I did that shit for fucking years, and I still enjoy interesting music. But my point being is that, you know, it's not dangerous to sort of fetishize these fringe little surface aesthetics. But it is dangerous to embrace conspiracy theories and like truth movement, esoteric, and stuff that's truly fringe. You know, it's not just fucking surface doodah blah, you know what I mean? And it just pisses me off that like I get fucking like ostracized from the scene and looked at as crazy, or even in some ways looked at as like the villain, because I'm not completely stereotypically far left, you know. I have some conservative sympathies. I don't think that the Republicans are completely fucking evil, or I don't like buy into the ridiculousness of modern day political correctness, you know what I mean? And it pisses me off that like, for those reasons alone, for and embracing conspiracy theories into my stuff, I get ostracized from a lot of those people. It's just like upsetting, you know. But I'm pretty obscure right now, and I'm even more obscure because I live in the middle of nowhere practically in West Virginia. Not completely, you know, But I go up to Pittsburgh a lot, but I found that even in the Pittsburgh scene, or especially, it's just kind of real tame, watered down. It's exactly what I'm talking about. There's a lot of different styles of music up there, from indie rock to like weird electronic, but a lot of it's exactly what I'm talking about. How it's just like, it's the stuff that up there that is fringe is just fringe and surface only, and I'm sure that a lot of places, a lot of urban cities are like that. So I don't, given, especially I've been doing the kind of conspiracy theory influenced, like experimental, eclectic type music for a while now, and a lot of people up there just don't, when they see the conspiracy angle, they just don't get it. It's over their head. They don't want to associate with it. You know, it's too dangerous for them. It's just bullshit. And these people call themselves fucking rebels. They're just a bunch of fucking surface-ass posers. You know, the few of us out there that I know of, Terzi and my friend Effin, to a degree, also mind this truth movement influenced eclectic underground music, though they do it in their own way, not as like overt as I do it. It's a bit more covert with their styles, but still, you know, and I'm sure there are others. I don't know where the fuck they are, you know, but I'm sure there are others. You know, our little niche, our little group, we're like the true rebels. You know, we're not fucking around here. It's not just like surface fringe eclecticness. You know, well, that's a part of it. That's just really, that's just the surface. You know, for me personally, the eclectic styles of music are mixed with, you know, truth movement and conspiracy theory influenced lyricism. And I personally don't really know anyone else who's doing that. It's not to like, you know, it's not to like, you know, narcissistically embrace myself. But even some of the people that I know who do more truth movement type stuff, it's more like a subtle type thing. I don't really know any others who are doing it as sort of like overtly like in your face with this shit as I am. Not to mention that like the music itself is pretty experimental at times. You know, I'm bullheaded and I refuse to conform to anything. I just do what I want all the time. Now there are some others who do kind of truth movement type stuff. A lot of them have more straightforward styles, like simple folk music and whatnot, which is fine. I have no problem with that. In some ways, they're probably better off, you know, because I find probably a lot of like conservatives and libertarians and the small group of like leftist conspiracy theorists out there probably are into more basic concert music, which is fine. So even in that regard, I'm kind of like in like a limited niche. At times it seems like it's almost like I don't belong anywhere, but I know that's not true from the few people that I've met in Pittsburgh and to some degree in West Virginia who get it. I know there's hope, even if it feels like it's a small niche right now. I know there's hope that it will grow. It's just it's a really difficult, especially from being in West Virginia and just kind of being like an outcast. Like it's difficult, you know, but I persevere through it because I believe wholeheartedly in what I'm doing, and I know my friends who are doing similar things in Pittsburgh or otherwise, you know, they believe in what they're doing as well. And at the end of the day, you just have to be your own bull in a china shop. You have to go full bore. You just have to like believe that what you're doing is right and that eventually it's going to pay off. And say theoretically it never pays off, and I die a penniless pauper, well, then I'll just join Tesla and Van Gogh and Dickinson and all the other like Edgar Allan Poe and all the other creative geniuses who no one gave a shit about until they died. I'm not saying that's gonna happen. But worst case scenario, you know? So it's like, fuck it. I'm just gonna keep doing what I'm doing. But I just wanted to talk about just an issue that like really irks me. So thank you. This is a follow-up. I realized that I forgot to talk about this one aspect. Okay. Now, to a very small degree, in fact, I only know of one artist doing it. There are, to a very small degree, the conspiracy theory truth movement realm is being embraced within the hipster realm. But I only know of one case, and I don't really care for this person's music. I say that quote unquote. He makes noise. I'm not really a big fan of like harsh noise of that. Now some of the ambient noise that has a palatable aesthetic I can get into, but harsh noise, I don't fucking care. It's not my cup of tea. But I am aware of one noise musician who, you know, tackles conspiracy theory and truth movement realm. But he does it in a very kind of parodying, like, ironic way, in a way that kind of just, you can just tell that he doesn't take them seriously and just sort of parodying them. On top of that, he does it in a way that's kind of like even satanic. Like he has one noise song that's something like, it's called like Bloodbath Reiki, like Reiki as in the New Age spirituality concept, which is just like, seems obvious. He's just making some shitty demonic harsh noise parody of something that he knows nothing about, probably. Because I know this guy and he's a fucking douchebag. I eventually like deleted him on Facebook, but that's a long story. He's a douchebag. He's a condescending ass. And that's one thing, is that like, if it does happen, like if the conspiracy theory realm, truth movement realm ends up becoming like a fringe underground thing, most of it is going to be coming from a ironic level that's obviously not taking it seriously and not giving it any kind of credos and saying it's all fucking bunk. Because, oh, of course that's the route you have to take. You know, you can't possibly give any credence to these crazy theories about Illuminati and chemtrails and this, that, and the other, you know what I mean? It's like, of course not. Don't give any credence to those whack jobs. And that's the other aspect that I forgot to talk about earlier that I think is really shitty. Almost, it's as shitty as the fact that it's not embraced or well accepted within the sort of the music scene. And in particular the underground music scene. Oh, and another part of that is obviously because satanic Illuminati Luciferianism is actually really fashionable. It's fashionable in the way that, like, of embracing, you know, the evils of that shit. Like, and you see it everywhere in, like, pop music. So it's fashionable in that sense. But if you have the balls to actually say, like, no, Illuminati is not cool, you should not be wearing it on your t-shirts, you should not be embracing this shit that, oh, you're a crazy whack job, get the fuck out of the scene, you know, it's horseshit.
Hey guys, Zonvarus here. If you enjoyed this video, why don't you fucking subscribe? Subscribe right here where my mustache is. See me playing with my mustache, my beard. Oh, my fancy beard. Oh, so why don't you subscribe right here? And around where this hat is, or up in this general area, there's a video. Some kind of video, I don't know what the fuck it is. It's probably a video about a conspiracy theories, about chemtrails, or reptilians, or maybe it's a song. Anyway, my cat just did something silly, but anyway, right up here there's a song about, it's a reptilians, or chemtrails, or it's a music video, or some kind of shit. Around here, maybe it's a music video. Maybe it's like my song about vortex energy, about chemtrails or reptilians or the same kind of shit. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Anyway, please subscribe and 1, 2, 3, buckle my shoe, blah, blah.